Welcome back to Scott's Train Loft. I know a few weeks ago, or maybe even it's been months ago, I committed, at least through comments, to provide a layout overview. And so that's what we'll hope to accomplish today, is to give you a quick jaunt around my small layout and let you know what the future plans look like for it. As you come up into the loft and come in, immediately to the right is the main portion of the layout. Up here on the upper loop, I have a residential section I'm putting in that eventually will have streets, fences, etc. And hopefully we can develop this out a little bit further. Below it, you get a view of what the tunnel would look like, at least on the inside. Below, on the main portion, we have a section here in the middle that will eventually be an oil loading platform, along with storage tanks for the oil business. And as we leave the oil platform, oil loading area, we start getting into what will be the retail section on my layout. These are mostly made up of Woodland Scenics pre-built buildings, along with Woodland Scenics lighting. I've also started to create a little more detail in this area by creating sidewalks. I need a little more work on the sidewalks to get a little more contrast in the cracks of the sidewalks. This layout, the main bottom section, is made up of two loops, as you can see here. The outside loop is 042. Along with the upper loop, it's also 042. And the inside loop is 031. There's the connections, interchange here between the layouts. These are currently 031s. As you come here, I have a Y here that's installed. Between these three switches, it allows me to do reversing functions. And that also gives me access to the upper loop, which goes around here across the bridge and goes into a reversing loop around the residential section. Over here outside the Y area, this is what will become my commercial or industrial section of the layout. I've got a couple of Woodland Scenics O-Gauge buildings. I've got the Morrison Doors plant or factory and the H&H feed and supply store. Here in the back, off this far siding, this is a scratch-built grain silo that will service my grain industry. And in the back corner is a Lionel microwave tower. This is one that I believe I purchased back in the 80s. So far, this layout has treated me fairly well. I have found a few operational issues. For those that may have seen my Southern Pacific GS4 introduction, you notice that I had an issue with clearance in front of the bridge, where when it comes out of the curve of the switch, the front end of the locomotive hit the side girder of the bridge. I do have plans to move the bridge back a little bit, so I have a couple extra inches of clearance there to get onto the straightaway. Also, as you consider the double tracks, the two tracks in the back are a little bit close to each other. And I've had issues where some of your larger diesel locomotives, such as your SD70 Aces or ES44 ACs, may touch each other as the railing comes around and may touch a car on the outside track. Besides that, another clearance issue is associated with this wall. I tried to fit just a little bit too much of a layout into this space. And I have issues with certain locomotives hitting the wall, as you can see by the torn out insulation on the side of the room. As you come around this the far section, or the left-hand side of the track. This is where I've started developing some sidings for my various locomotives. I have a Menards 2-stall engine house. And then here on the side is the ever popular Snyder shelving, where I've got a fraction of my rolling stock and locomotives installed. And back around here is the door where I came in. And this section is a lowered section I put in. I'm still in development on it. I've got the Lionel arch under bridge. And I've also got the back section, which is currently just temporarily held up, which eventually will be a trestle. And below the rail yard table, I've created this set of shelves. It's specifically designed to hold these 60-foot streamlined passenger cars that MTH makes. I've got a number of these sets, and this is built specifically to hold those and to also take full advantage of the depth underneath this table. So while I started working this room just a little over a year ago and started building my layout about 9 months ago, I was able to get my first engines to start running on the track about 6 months ago. I know I'm a long ways from finishing out this layout, but I know that there's a lot of issues with it, and I could certainly use more space. So, not wanting to wait too much longer, I've decided that the best thing I could do to provide additional clearance on this layout is to remove this wall. That's right, I'm going to remove this wall. I've decided to create an expansion to this loft and give myself a little bit more space, almost doubling the square footage of this loft. So stick with me as we go on this journey, and I'll let you know how it goes and provide you some updates as we make progress. Please excuse me if you don't see a lot of trains in the immediate future, as I spend time ripping this wall out and moving out the insulation and everything so that I can get better access. So I look forward to this journey, and I hope you stick along with me as we take this journey and expand this layout. Who knows what I have in the future for this layout, but I know it's going to be fun. Thank you for watching.